My name's Leslie Pippin. My husband's Steve and daughter Lindsay, and I've been members for, since '83, I guess, the end of '83, Brentwood Baptist. My husband's in the music business and film business, and my daughter is currently at Tennessee Performing Arts Center. I'm the only one that's not part of that industry. And when you see this video, you'll probably know why. But no, love my family. We've been in the same house for 36 years, and just love the community here. Well, I started doing weddings over 30 years ago, and actually it was a hobby, and it was to kind of counteract what I was doing on the school board. I was actually on the school board at the time, and on one end I could do something. I felt like I was doing more good there, but you rarely ever make everybody happy on that end. And yet, doing weddings, wedding cakes, everybody's happy. It's such a happy occasion. So I left the school board and went full-time to doing weddings, and absolutely love it. People are just in a different frame of mind, and I love being a part of that. And so often I'll get people that sit across the table from me when we're doing tastings and say, "You look familiar." And it's usually a very good thing. And I hesitate because I don't know if it's what it's from, whether it's school board or it's something else, but or church. And a lot of times these days now, it's church. And it's like, you got a Brentwood Baptist. Oh, okay. Then that starts another conversation. And, I love it. Brentwood Baptist is such a huge community of caring people and loving people, and I just love being a part of it. It's an honor to be a part of it. I love that man. I was such a rebel back then, and I grew up Methodist. My husband grew up Church of Christ. So we had to, my parents were Catholic, so we had a little bit of everything in our family. We came to visit here because of Mother's Day Out and the BYCS here, and heard that it was just second to none. Well, we found that to be true really quickly. We put our daughter in, and absolutely, I was blown away by the people here. They didn't go around and, I was afraid coming here, new person in the area, that, would walk in the door, and I thought, well, it's only Baptists that are going to be there, and they're going to beat me over the head with, where do you go to church? Why don't you go to church regularly? Why don't, and we were Christians. We just didn't attend a church. So I was a little hesitant, but at the same time, I wanted that foundation for Lindsay. So we got her in the school. Not one person asked where we went to church. And that was, believe it or not, that was so powerful to me. Bill Wilson came to see me when we thought about joining, and I said, well, I was sprinkled at 13. Does that count? And he laughed, and then he explained it all to me, and he said, I can baptize you publicly out in your backyard if you want. I mean, it's that simple. So that's all he had to say. I said, okay, then I'm there. I'll do that. And I did. I love that man dearly. He was a big influence. And we joined the church, obviously, and it's been great. I mean, from the day we first day we set foot into the school with Lindsay, and she was, 9 months old, Mother's Day Out. It was great. And then we went from there to the pageant. I'm sure that most people remember the Christmas pageants. Oh, what a family everybody was. I mean, I got to see people that I didn't see in my Sunday school or life group. People didn't just talk the talk. They walked it. And I had never seen anything quite like that before, and that hooked me. I said, I got to be a part of this. I have to be a part of this. So we did, and up through that last year that they did the Christmas pageant. What an outreach. Oh, so many people came through these doors that, normally wouldn't have. There are so many memories of those pageants. It's just hard to pick one. But the fact that everybody was so committed, there were people that were down cooking dinner every night to feed everybody. And there were, I think we really had an impact on a lot of the orchestra that came in that was hired, because they would come down and it was like they're not used to people being that nice and that friendly. Nice, yes. Cordial, yes. Friendly, maybe not so much. But it was a huge family, and everybody was committed. They kept their sense of humor even during the stressful times when things don't go quite right. You've got sound, you've got cameras, you've got everything you've got actors, a couple of actors that were paid to actually do the big roles. One of my most memorable things was the three wise men coming down the aisle. And they had actually borrowed suits from the Brentwood Fire Department along with a fire hose. And they came carrying these fire hose in. And the person that was directing it that year turned around and said, "What's going on?" And they said, "We're three men from afar." Afar. And there was one person that was so straight-laced, I've never seen him crack a joke. This is the first time. And I'm going, okay, you're real. You're family, too. This is great. Sense of humor. And then there was another year that somebody was supposed to be dead, Lazarus. And, I think it was Eddie Lunn. And his cell phone went off at the inappropriate time and got up and said, "Must be God calling." It was great. So, things like that were just incredible memories, we'll always have. Gosh, 15 years ago, believe it or not, I can't believe I've been doing this long, but 15 years ago, I guess I'd been to one too many funerals, just within a very short period of time. And the last one that I had gone to, there was hardly anybody there, and not family members, nothing, no church family, really. And so I thought, I turned to Steve and I said, how do people do this without a church family, especially if they don't have any remaining family? He just said, I don't know. It's got to be so difficult. And so it just hit me. And I thought, thank you, Lord, this is from you, because it's not from me. I'm not this creative. I went to Gail and I said, Gail, what can we do for people inside the church and as an outreach for people that don't have church homes, to let them know that when they have a loss in the family, that they have somebody to rely on. Give them some really good information in there on grief. Don't give it to them until about 6 weeks after the loss. The reason being, usually shock sets in at first when you have a loss, and after 4 to 6 weeks, then that shock wears off, and then you got depression that sets in. And I can't tell you how many stories of people that people have given us about how that has impacted them. And it's made me feel like God gave me the right idea here to step in and start this. And Gail Haywood was very instrumental in helping get that approved and started. And then, of course, we went on, and I said, well, what part of the church would this come under? How would we do that? And she said, there's a brand new group formed, ladies group, called the Nurture Team. So she said, here's a person to call and contact, and I did, and it was history from there. Instead of calling it sympathy baskets or grief baskets, we thought it would be better, and actually my husband named them, appropriately so, because we hope that they're a blessing to others. So we want them to be blessing baskets. And from that, the Nurture Team also does flowers. They're called Blooming Blessings. And, of course, we have prayer shawls, and hospital baskets are a spinoff of the blessing baskets. So, and cards, we write cards. The Nurture Team is just a wonderful group of women that are truly the hands and feet of Jesus. That's plain and simple. Blessing baskets have things like just a wrapped notepad with Brentwood Baptist on there, a bookmark with and a book, the grief book. We circulate and have different grief books. We have care notes for the certain losses, different, it's specified for the loss, tailored for the loss. We also have CDs called About Tomorrow, and that is something that has been really helpful in the last couple of years, in that it's not music, it's other people talking about their grief and their path during their grief and how they get through that, and how no two people are the same. Everybody's different, and what you're feeling is normal. And they try to, bring that home to that person, that their grief is different, but normal. And give them a little more comfort in that. So everything is comforting. We have a Nurture Team mug, and we put scripture tea in there. So when hopefully they're having their tea, they can look at that scripture and feel a little comfort there. And then we have snacks and things in there for them. But the things we really want to get across is, there's grief classes. We put one of those in there too. And just that, don't let depression set in here. There is help out there.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of outreach, and we encourage people to tell us if they have a neighbor or friend or someone. Even we'll mail books out of state to somebody, little grief books and care notes. So
Okay.
we try to take care of everybody we can. I think Bill Wilson, to me, of course, it was some time ago, and it was a different time in my life. He was like a comforting father. He was a stabilizer and just comforting and very mild-mannered and very, soft-spoken. And then Mike comes in, and all this energy abounds. It's like, let's do this and this and this and this. It's like, whoa, slow down just a little bit. We're not used to this. But I tell you what, it's worked, and it's energized the church. Obviously, we've grown so much. So that's the big difference. Very energetic. I still see that after, 28 years? Yeah, I still see that.